Now I got some real targets that you can really do it. And I always say this, I am in such a good position that, and I listen to you guys. Sometimes you guys piss me off. Sometimes you guys say dumb stuff. Sometimes you guys make fun of me. Sometimes when you make fun of me, though, it's good. Like it gets me thinking better. Like it helps. And so I do appreciate the feedback. Sometimes you guys come up with great ideas. But nonetheless, I do listen and I always have an open mind. um I know what the people's thinking, and right now it's all a bunch of we're gonna get to that right here. Patterson for Kittle. It's all about selling and panicking on George Kittle. And I don't want to get too much into this because I just did a video of my rankings where I rambled on about the Niners and Kittle for a long time. I thought it was great. I think it's good content. So I won't try to repeat the exact same stuff. But essentially, everyone's hitting the panic button on Kittle. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to
No.
hold off on hitting that button. Um, Jimmy G is terrible. Let's see how this offense is with Trey Lance. And I've loved Debo since he was a prospect before he got drafted. So I don't think you can qualify me if you want to go to the extreme. Say I'm a homer and I love Debo because he's a Niner. I mean, it doesn't add up because I loved him as before he got drafted, and Trey Lance, I loved him even more than Debo before he got drafted. So I
Oh
don't think
yeah.
that's gonna really. I don't think that's gonna hold up right in court. Like I've been posting Trey Lance content, said before he got drafted when he was in a green uniform. I don't think it's gonna hold up. And let's just see how this offense does with Kittle. Let's talk Ayuk, Drew, to tie this all together.
Yep.
How depressing is Ayuk? Like how much does he say? How much confidence do you have in Ayuk?
I'd say if it's a percentage, we're at like 50% confidence at this point. Now
In
my
redraft?
hope, yeah, and I'm an optimistic person. So don't get me wrong. If it's dynasty, I'm holding because I feel like long term it's going to be okay. But for this season, with all the different issues you've already had, so to speak, in practice and training camp, getting acclimated, was injured a little bit, was supposed to be punt returner, hasn't done that until like I think 2 weeks ago, and still hasn't looked good really in any of the games. Yeah, I'm not super high on him at this point, but I'm high on him for dynasty still.
Yeah, I mean, you're just not like I don't know, man. He's the third option in this offense. I think it's all about the running back.
He's still young though
Debo. Yeah, I'm not. We're
for
talking about this.
dynasty,
We're talking about this year, though. This
and yeah,
year.
and that's right. That's I'm
Yeah,
just trying to give perspective.
I'm bringing up Ayuk to talk about Kittle. That's the only reason I'm talking about Ayuk because this is not like Ayuk is not content. Like no one's starting him. No, like people are
Yeah,
borderline dropping him. Like so that's not. I'm putting in Ayuk to talk about Kittle as in like who else is going to catch the ball? Like this is the playmaker we're looking at right here on the video. It's George Kittle. The other playmaker is Debo. Like this is evident. Ayuk is the third option at best. And don't hit the panic button. Let's see what this offense can do. As far as Trey Lance, there's a lot of hate for him. Like people think he can't throw this and
oh
that.
yeah,
I mean, but when I see deep, this is how you guys. This is the number one way to watch film. For people that are like trying to watch film, just started a year ago, 2 years ago, or just want to start and haven't started yet. My number one advice for watching film is watch what defenders do, what the defense does. Because it's so hard to be like, is this guy fast on the field? You can't see that on tape. So, but when you see like four defenders look slow when he's running by, then he's fast. That's how you
right.
know. And so I'm looking at Trey Lance, and these experienced defenders are terrified of him. So that alone is going to open up a lot. That combined with Shanahan drafting him so early and Shanahan coming up with these awesome plays, let's just see what Kittle's going to do. He keeps getting more and more targets every week. He's on my buy low list. I would buy low And this is all about mentals and stuff. So I am focusing. So like I asked Drew and we text Mike. Mike can't make it, but we're texting up to the minute of the podcast. You guys came up with some pretty good names. I didn't put in here because I know how people feel about these players. I know that
Yeah, I
some
figured you
players
would.
hold a big name. Some players have a positive perception. They have high stocks. Some players have low stocks. I know I read all this. Like I get 100 DMs, 100 comments every single day, hundreds. Like I
Tweets and
see
everything.
tweets, DMs on Instagram, Facebook. Like people hitting me. People hit me up on Sleeper randomly. Like, hey, Patreon, everywhere, YouTube. I'm seeing it. And right now, everyone's panicking on Kittle, but some of these other names, it's going to be harder. I'm telling you. That's why I talked about Patterson as in like, sure, it's ideal to sell high, but you're dealing with another human. And I think right now you can get Kittle, especially if they have like a tight end who like they think is good, that's sitting in, just chilling. You can
Well,
go get Kittle.
I think Lance is going to get there, maybe not super quickly, but in the broadcast last week, the announcer said something, and there was an interview with Kittle. Kittle said Garoppolo just throws the ball with a little more touch, and that Lance hasn't got there yet with his touch. And you see it when Lance was in the pocket scrambling, and then he would throw a rocket, and it would go like right through Debo's hands or Ayuk's hands.
At
It's like
least the defenders weren't catching it though.
at least they weren't going back the other way, right? But still, I think just in a few maybe weeks time, if he gets that touchdown, then he can throw these nice veteran passes with, just the right pace.
Other than that Saints game a couple years ago, like Jimmy G's like his success when like Kittle goes off and stuff has mostly been Shanahan plays.
Oh, yeah. And Kittle
Misdirection.
making that more out of it than it is, like taking it for 30, 40 yards yak.
Yeah, he's a yak monster. So is Debo. So I like Kittle. I'm concerned about the injuries.
This is definitely coming up, by the way, Chris. I just wanted to add.
I don't I don't think I don't think Kittle is I don't I'm worried about him too a little bit. Like I'm not saying he's going to be a stud or anything. I'm just saying like, people are trying to ship him for so cheap and we don't want to do that. So
No,
Kittle
there's no
is a
way.
buy low because of the price. Let's move on to the next guy.
Next up, we have Mr. A.J. Brown.
AJ Brown right now, I see him in a lot of trades, and I don't know. I'm offering there's some good buy low, sell high lists, and I'm sure you guys have them too. But I'm bringing this different perspective as like I'm seeing what the people are saying. I have my ear to what the public is saying, and I'm seeing AJ Brown get traded for really cheap right now. And so he's coming back from an injury and he's been getting a couple limited participations in practice, and that's aligning with him starting because that's what he's been. He's been limited before he was injured as well. So it seems like he's going to play, and he's playing against the Jags. And then boom, his stock will fly after this. On top of that, I have this thing called a gut feeling that he's going to go off this week against the Jags, and also Julio's trending towards not playing. I mean, this guy's back. Like I can smell it. I can smell this burnt Jaguar skin
I think
and
fishing,
Jaguar roadkill. I can smell it right now.
you and Fishing have great points. I think he's definitely going to be on the trend, on the upward trend. He's just too good, and he's physical. Like he just blows some of those cornerbacks off the line sometimes with his speed and his physicality. And then he makes catches like DK Metcalf can make, like jumping up and flying over Moss and guys. So if Tannehill can get him the ball, get it down the field, which I know he can, Derrick Henry can keep him in the box. Could be some
Yeah,
101s.
you're making good points. I just want to say my perspective with all these buy low, sell high is the price of the stock.
You're a
That's
price
all.
guy, yeah.
Yeah,
I got you.
and right now, I don't need to explain why or how. I don't know the answer sometimes. I don't know why or how necessarily his stock is this low. Yeah, he's injured. He hasn't done. I know all that, but I'm just saying right now his stock is super low. The price is super cheap. And so you can sneak in. Probably a package deal might work best. 2-for-2 trade. Go get AJ Brown before he plays the Jaguars, which is coming up here in a few hours.